Hey guys, what's up? Welcome back here to today's edition of Advanced Bass Fishing, and really appreciate you guys swinging by the channel to watch the video today. Always very grateful to have you guys around. We're going to be talking about the best time of day to fish in today's episode, and this is a pretty complicated topic. It's not as simple as what it seems on the surface. So I'm going to sort of give you guys some sort of high-level advanced insight into this and let you know from my perspective what I think the best times of the day to fish are based upon a lot of different variables out there. So we'll get into that in today's video. And apologize up front, guys, if I start sneezing and blowing my nose. I got a bad cold right now, and I'm just dripping like a faucet right now, so we'll try to get through the video. Also, guys, before we get started, just a quick reminder that we've only got a few days left in the Black Friday sale at Tackle Warehouse and on Solar Bat. If you guys want to take advantage of those sales, I'll put my links in the description. Using those links is a good way to help the channel. And like with Tackle Warehouse, between now and the end of November, you can get everything there pretty much at like 20% off. And if you order a pair of my Signature Series sunglasses from Solar Bat, you can get the second pair of equal or lesser value free. So sort of a 2-for-1 deal there. If you guys are interested, I'll link everything in the description. Really appreciate that. Okay, best times of day to fish. There's a lot to this in terms of, there's always a thing flying here. Every time I start doing the video, there's like a fly always comes around. It's like, geez. But anyway, there's a lot of different things to consider when you're determining what the best time a day to fish is. And a lot of those variables surround things such as water temperature, water clarity, time of year, mood and the personality to fish, the type of cover you're fishing. There's a lot of different stuff to that. So I sort of want to give you sort of a broad foundation, and then we'll dive into a little bit deep on there. Now, one of the things that you're going to find about is the time of the day specifically is really important when you relate the combination of water clarity and water temperature. And let me give you two different ends of the spectrum. Let's say, for example, if you're dealing with clear water and warm water, the best time of day to fish in those situations is going to be your lowest light levels that you have. So in a warm water, clear water situation, the best time of day is going to be night. Night is going to be your number one time, followed closely by the early morning hours and the late evening hours. In other words, like from the time the sun comes up for like the first hour until like the last hour before it goes down, in those situations. And on the other end of the spectrum, if you have cold water and dirty water, the best time of day is going to be in the very middle of the day when that sun is directly overhead. So everything else is in between. That will give you a really good barometer as far as how to determine that. So you got one situation, let's say, for example, it's February, water temperature is 46, 47 degrees. You got water visibility that's about 1.5 feet. You better be there about noon, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock in the afternoon, because it's going to warm that shallow water up. It's going to create more light intensity, light penetration, going to make those fish a little bit more aggressive. And on the other end of the spectrum, through the clear, warm water early or late in the day, low light conditions. So everything else is in between. So say, for example, if you got water temperature sort of that falls in that mid-range, where you got water temperatures, let's say, in the 60s, and the water visibility, say 3 feet or something like that, just sort of an average scenario. The window, the best time of the day, can be a lot of different times of the day, depending upon the cover that you're fishing. If you're fishing in a situation like that, let's say an average situation, water temperatures in the 60s, water clarity is 3 foot or so, depending upon the type of cover, it's going to dictate, the best time of the day. If you're fishing an area that doesn't have much cover, let's say, for example, you're fishing just a gravelly main lake point, your best fishing is going to be in a little bit lower light conditions because the fish don't have anything to relate around. But on the flip side of that, let's say you're in that same situation and the water's a little bit high, or, maybe you got some boat docks. If you're flipping flooded cover or you're flipping underneath boat docks, the best time of day can be up in the day when it creates a shade line, because that shade line is going to concentrate those fish a little bit more in that particular area. So it's all relative to all that. So when you're determining the best time of day to fish, there's two ways to do that. Number one is that formula that I just gave you there, which sort of gives you a foundation. It sort of gives you an idea The second with that is you have to really pay attention to what the fish are telling you, and you have to find out by actually fishing. Because I don't know how many times, guys, that I've been out there and I've been in a tournament and I fished for like 7, 8, 10 days in a row. After you fish concurrently for that many days, you notice what I call bite windows, where at different times of the day, the fish simply get more active or they'll start biting better. And that could be 8 in the morning, that could be 11 o'clock in the morning, that could be 1:30 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon. Those bite windows are very random, and there's nothing that you can really use to predict them. And I think a lot of it, maybe it's a combination of like, the water clarity, water temperature, maybe the wind speed and the wind direction, the type of cover that you're fishing, maybe something with the moon phase. I mean, there's a lot of different things that contribute with that. But another thing with that is the lure that you're using has a lot to do with it, because certain lures are better at certain times of the day. For example, everybody knows most of the time that a topwater lure is going to be better early or late in the day. A lot of people know that you're better pitching and flipping is going to be up in the middle of the day, when you got shade out there. And other lures, like say big glide baits and swim baits, those tend to be a little bit better up in the day. So when you're just trying to pinpoint that, it's very, very random. And sometimes you can really pinpoint it exactly if you've actually spent a lot of time on the water. Because I've been in a lot of situations. Let me give you guys a prime example of this. I was fishing a Bassmaster Top 150 tournament at Lake Eufaula, Alabama, several years ago. And I finished second in this tournament by 1 ounce. Denny Brower beat me in the tournament, and I lost 2 5-pounders that last day of the tournament. But anyway, this is a prime example. I was flipping a tube into scattered grass in shallow water. The water was really shallow. Water visibility was probably about maybe 1.5 feet or so, like that. Perfect flipping situation. And for whatever the reason, I couldn't really figure it out. But after about 9 o'clock, I couldn't hardly get a bite. It's like from the time I got out there until about 9 o'clock in the morning, it was like they were on. It was like the fishing was really good. Once 9 o'clock rolled around, it got super tough. And it didn't make sense because I was flipping heavy cover in dirty water. So common knowledge and everything that I had to associate with that in the past, pointed the fact that these fish ought to bite all day long, but they didn't. They shut off at 9 o'clock. And that's what you're going to find in fishing. It's like you have to pay close attention to what the fish are telling you about those bite windows and the time of the day, and then try to be in your best water at that particular time of day. And that's what ultimately all this is about. It's being in your best area where you think that most fish are at the best time of day. That's the key. That's the reason trying to figure out what is the best time of day to fish is all about, is you want to be in your best spot at the best time of the day. So anyway, guys, that's just a few quick overviews with it. Like I said, some of those things are predictable, some are not so much. It's just another one of those mysteries in fishing that makes it a difficult sport. But anyway, hope it points you in the right direction a little bit. We'll talk later.